What's up, everybody? Hello and welcome to episode number 273 of the VK Bros with Jason and Alex Von Cannell. Now, I'm going to make an early apology. For a start, you can see how close my face is to the screen.
It's gross.
Still having camera issues. Looking old as hell as well. Alex just pointed out how grey I'm going everywhere. So, have kids, guys. It's real easy on your body.
We invested considerable money into your setup over there.
Yeah.
And it's worse.
No, I'm getting worse. The setup's getting better. That's the problem. I'm deteriorating
Not the camera.
all the time.
The camera issue is
True.
Yeah, that is an issue.
Yeah. So send us some more Bitcoin using the receive addresses below and help me upgrade some even more gear. I am also going to apologise too because your boy's back at basketball. Your boy's back in the game. And I used to play heaps of sports, used to be an athlete once upon a time, and then I tore my ACL about 8 years ago, I think it was now, roughly, 7 or 8 years ago, had surgery, took years to recover, then had kids, then just got super fat, and anyway, I'm 3 games back into men's C Division social basketball, and we had a late game last night, started at 8:30, like, almost my bedtime. And because by the time it was finished, by the time I left at about 10 o'clock, and I was just so wound up, I couldn't go to sleep until 1.
So I'm so in tune with my body.
Yeah, the viewers know that you're a sleep connoisseur.
8:30, I'm already putting steps in place to minimise the stimulation in my house because I'm preparing for bed. Bed is 9 o'clock for me. And by 8:30, I've got basically all the lights off in the house. I'm usually watching some content that is like not harsh on the old brain. Sorry, I do like more sort of esoteric stuff. So the last thing I might watch is 3i Atlas, space video or something like that. So like a deep thinking thing, but nothing that's going to like shock my my nervous system.
Yep.
My phone has got the most blue light filter that you can possibly have, so it literally looks red, and I'm preparing mentally for sleep. So the fact that at that time you're going into a neon lit room,
going to battle under fluorescent lighting,
hearing the squeak and the bounces of the balls, and probably doing the most stimulating thing. The only recommendation I would give you is when you come home and you have a shower, go and sit in front of the TV for like half an hour to wind down. So same as if I've played video games, I have to, I can't just go straight from this computer straight to bed.
Yeah, totally.
I've got to wind down and start to switch your brain off, switch your brain and your body off.
So I did that. So I came home, had a shower. I did because now that I'm an old man and I'm actually trying to look after my body, I did like a mobility routine to try to make sure I wasn't as sore and stiff today, and I think it was really, really good because I actually feel really good today, all things considered. And then how
many fouls you got up on the board?
Only 3 last night, but your boy is leading the league in personal fouls. I have more personal fouls than points so far this season.
And I've played with Jason in the past, and I know that he's usually a big scorer.
Used to be,
but he's always been a big fouler. Always been a big fouler.
Because I like to defend.
He's a foul guy. Not only is he a foul guy, but there's something that this is part of his game that he'll never fix. And I hope as an old man he'll try to look at it. I bet he won't.
Here we go.
When Jason sees red, right? So let's say...
Actually, you can just stop this right now because I had a guy try to start me last night and I laughed at him. I'm
extremely... What sound is that making? Is that me or is that you? I've got this weird thing clicking in me. Talking to me.
That's the aliens, mate.
No. There's literally something like trying to ring me.
Is it your phone on top of your
No. It's like it sounds like Discord, but Discord's closed. Jason doesn't know how to manage referees. So he
didn't.
No, let me finish. Okay. Let me finish. So Jason knows the rules pretty well. But what Jason doesn't understand, he's very binary in the this is right and this is wrong in the context of the game, which is fine. But he's got no comprehension of human nature. And human nature in sports being, if you make the ref look like an idiot, he will make you pay by calling things that aren't there.
Mm-hmm.
And then that frustrates Jason even more, and therefore he gets even more foul. So he has a compound foul effect on himself, and all he needs to do is just relax with the... You can relax with the refs. If you get along with the refs really well, you should get away with more fouls. You can do fouls that don't get called because the ref just thinks you're a top bloke.
So you'll be happy to know that it's no longer an issue because I'm no longer a hyper-competitive super athlete and I'm playing with a bunch of dads and we're all just there to have a good time. And even like...
I don't believe...
No,
I don't believe
you can ask other members of the team.
Yeah, up to 3 games in, yeah, I totally get it. But I know you, Jason. You're like a brother to me. So I know what's going to happen. You're going to get a taste of it. You're going to get a little... You're going to put 20 points up in a game, and you're going to think you are a god, and then a ref's going to foul you off.
Oh, no, I'm still... Look, don't get me wrong. I'm still competing. I'm absolutely competing. But, like, the ref stuff, not a drama anymore. Because I just don't care as much as I used to. Being that it's been 8 years out of the game, like I've got, you're talking a late 20-year-old male versus a late 30-year-old male getting back into it. And even last night there was I was just bringing the ball down at one point, went to cut through the key, and one of their players was trying to defend me, and a guy who looks older than me, and we made a little bit of contact, and then I passed the ball off, like not even thinking anything of it, and he tried to get in my face and say, "Oh, use your shoulder again and see what happens." I just started laughing, and I'm like, dude, it's C-grade social basketball, mate. Like, relax. So you can ask the rest of the team. I'm a mellow older gentleman now.
Ron Burgundy?
Yeah.
I don't believe you. I don't believe you.
Well, funnily enough, they actually have this thing called Glory League, which records all of the games. And I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but we, being the old man C graders, always get... our games are always on the same court, and it's always the court where the Glory League camera seems to be covered by a tarp or something like that. Because I just don't think that anyone wants the evidence when shit goes to court.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it's a good time. But no, I'm happy to be back, man. I have thoroughly missed sports. Like... It's one of those things that you don't know what you've got till it's gone. Like, sports is a massive part of my life, my entire life, until I had my knee injury. And you try to sort of fill that hole in your life with different things, and I probably did that a lot with work and then kids. But just to be able to go out and go to battle, I've missed it, and I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, we're supposed to do it. I think for men, you're supposed to do it. You're supposed to test your might.
Test your might.
Yeah, you're supposed to hang with the boys.
Yep.
And I think there's a lot of societal pressure around not hanging with the boys. Mm-hmm. But you're supposed to hang with the boys.
For sure. This is actually a really good segue. Speaking of testing your mic, can you go to that first YouTube clip that I sent you through? Because our country is going so well at the moment that we're actually getting some new advice on things to do in a crisis. So if you could just play this...
I know it is.
Security Office has issued new warnings about what the public should do in the event of an armed attack. The counter-terrorism advice focuses on crowded venues like airports and shopping centres at risk of being targeted by extremists. Geordie Wright has the details.
What's it called? Is it a Freudian slip when you... so she stuttered on... Listen.
Tourism advice focuses on crowded venues like airports and shopping centres at risk of being targeted by extremists. Geordie Wright has
extremists. Yeah.
Has the details.
Tash, while authorities say the national threat hasn't changed, this updated escape, hide and tell campaign could save lives.
Oh my God!
What is the morning? It's all good to escape, hide and tell, and in the evening it's all good to escape, hide and tell. When the lights go out, it's all good to escape, hide and tell.
Hold on, we get to hear that again. That's ridiculous.
Tash, while authorities say the national threat hasn't changed, this updated escape, hide and tell campaign could save lives. It's all about giving members of the public simple and clear steps to follow if they are faced with an armed offender. Here in Melbourne, we've seen machete attacks in shopping centres.
Hey, he's standing in front of the door.
Yeah.
That's the escape part. Foiled!
Just over a week ago, we had a man running through the CBD armed with a fake gun. And of course, we can't forget the horror at Bondi Junction, the stabbing rampage that saw 6 people killed and a further 12.
Is that why, in that case, an international saved the day? Because he hadn't listened to the...
Quite possibly, yeah.
What is it? What's it called?
Escape, hide and tell.
Escape, hide and tell.
Yeah, it's like stop, drop and roll, but for Australians.
12 injured. Now, these new warnings will be rolled out across the country with posters and social media content to reach as many people as possible.
$800 million campaign, no
Probably.
doubt.
Alerting the public about what to do in those first critical moments before police arrive. There are 3 simple instructions. Escape, moving quickly and quietly away from danger. Hide, stay out of sight and silence your mobile phone. And tell, call 000 when it's safe to do so.
I thought Optus can't dial 000 at the moment. They don't have the capabilities. You find it, it should be hide, find a landline.
Yeah, that's
right?
it.
Dust it
Smoke
off.
signals.
Yeah.
Or carry a pigeon.
I've been policing for nearly 40 years. These things were not at the level they are now. It was a very different world we lived in. When there's a critical incident, we don't encourage people to go forward and get involved.
Counter-terrorism say it's all about being prepared if the worst were to happen. They're also urging businesses that operate in or near crowded public areas such as shopping centres, airports, stadiums and even universities to help educate staff and security to ensure public safety during an active threat. Tash.
What has changed about the country in the last 40 years, Alex?
There's so many thoughts running through my head about this. The approach is kind of obvious, right?
Clearly not.
Who... Sorry, what percentage of the population do you think, if they weren't told this, wouldn't do that?
Oh, 0.
Right? So...
The only thing that I would say that there is a large percent of the population wouldn't do is actually call the police. Because everyone's got that, like, bystander bias where they assume someone else is going to do that sort of stuff. But, yeah, apart from that, no, the majority of the country is going to run away or hide.
So then I zoom out a little bit and I say, why this message and why now?
Mm-hmm.
So do I think these things are more prevalent? Look, probably a lot of the gang stuff is, but we've had gang violence before. We've had bikie gang violence that was huge. And they didn't really put out, like, remember when was there a boxing match at Royal Pines and the violence broke out and into the crowd and they were throwing chairs and things.
Yeah, but like,
so we had a bit of that, and then there was like 2 gangs shooting each other.
But that's the thing. But like, this was, in my opinion, there's always going to be criminal cartels, right? Bikies and different gangs and etc. The majority of that violence was like bikies on bikie violence or gang on gang violence. It's like a turf war, or it's criminals doing criminal things to other criminals. What we're seeing these days, though, is just attacks on regular civilians at a higher level. I don't want to get alarmist about it because we're not Venezuela, right? People aren't getting kidnapped in the street every single day and then showing up for work on a Monday. But it is getting more and more prevalent of just violent attacks on civilians. And probably that one that we played last week in Melbourne of that lady literally just walking to work in the morning. You know, we tell women, single women, hey, don't walk home alone at night time at 1 in the morning, go through parks. We don't tell them, hey, don't walk to work at 8:30 in the morning because you'll get stabbed. Like, that seems to be more prevalent.
I think I wonder if that's more in line with like the liberalisation of drugs. Like, I was a big like open, like just make everything legal. And I still feel that way. However, how come if you're fucked up on alcohol, the police pick you up, they put you away?
Yeah.
But how come you can be on ice ranting on the street and the police will do nothing?
Well, you know, I'm pretty sure they actually took that power for police away in Victoria fairly recently. So I think police used to arrest people who are intoxicated and like basically for them and the public's protection, and they actually took that power away and they're not allowed to do that anymore.
Clearly there's a lot of like psychosis that is like I think it's such a failing to just go it's a mental health issue. when I think, well, the mental health, it is real, but the mental health issue is such a large and complicated problem. It's not one that's easily fixed.
Correct, yeah.
Whereas grabbing someone who's a potential threat off the street and just locking them up, even if it's for the night, is going to save lives tomorrow.
Yeah. Yep.
Right? Whereas pumping a whole bunch of money into a Movember campaign is probably not going to stop that lady from
Yeah,
getting
that's
stabbed.
right. And let's be honest.
And having those bail laws too, the bail laws seem to be a big issue.
Well, another one just happened, I think it was yesterday down in Victoria. A teenager who attacked someone with a machete has been let out on bail immediately. And he was already out on bail before that.
So, and what frustrates me is we live in a society where the onus is now on the innocent parties. Correct. To fix the things. And now, I'm all about self-responsibility, right? So I am a big believer in that. Mm-hmm. But I don't need the government to tell me the obvious. It's like saying, hey, don't stick your hand in boiling pots of water. Yeah. It's just the dumbest. And we will spend $100 million on that campaign, no doubt. We should keep an eye on it. Yep. We'll spend $100 million on that campaign to say the dumbest thing. And what we should have done is spent $100 million or spent no dollars and just close the gaps in the laws that allow these people to do it. But it's not even... We should also hold our cities to a higher account in terms of how we let people... you shouldn't just be allowed to be fucked up on the street.
Yeah, but it's even worse than that too, because you've got to remember, just think about this. We are a rich, Western, safe nation. We grew up in a very, very safe country compared to most other parts of the world. And now we're at a point where there's so much violence that the government's... And again, we talk about on the show all the time about, media narratives, and I'm sure that this is supposed to stoke more fear, so that then when the government comes through and says, hey, digital ID and CCTV on every street corner will stop all the crime, that we'll just go along with it. I'm sure that's an element of this. But, this is probably the first time, I believe, in recent years where there has been the government has come out and said, we've got a problem, and the solution to the problem has not actually been a government intervention. Right? So, think about everything else. Climate change, existential threat. Oh, well, government's got to intervene, close down coal power stations, and do the renewable energy transition. COVID. Oh, we've got this disease that's spreading around. We're locking you in your house and we're going to force inject you. There's always been these government interventions. Whereas, things are apparently that bad now that the government's literally just saying, run, hide, and call the police. It's not a government intervention, which is what makes me actually think this is actually a real issue. But on the other side of this as well, you need to keep in mind, the government and the legal system is set up in a way that they have removed your right to defend yourself.
Yeah,
so
I was going to go there next.
All the machete bins in Victoria, the only people that affected was law-abiding citizens who then had to get rid of their machetes they probably paid good money for, they probably used for things like farming or hiking or hunting or whatever, lawful uses of those things, but they've had to get rid of them. And clearly, there's still machetes on the street, which is why a teenager just attacked someone with one literally this week. But they've removed your right to defend yourself. And there was the conversation maybe a couple of months ago about castle laws. You know what castle laws are?
Yeah, so protecting your own shit.
For those who don't know, castle laws are essentially your home is your castle, and if someone breaks into your home, you have the right to defend yourself from intruders. That's literally this law that they're not even people are talking about it because they want to be able to protect themselves, because at the moment you can't. And there was a case in Victoria a few months ago where an Asian gentleman had his home broken into by teenage thugs. He defended himself with pepper spray that he had in the house. He was facing more jail time than the people who broke into his house because the pepper spray is illegal.
Yeah, and so that's something that gets me. I think that's a Western construct, right? So we have this rule of law, and where I get really frustrated is the way I think about problems is I always try and think what the ideal outcome is, and then I usually I say, where am I right now?
Yep.
And I try to generate a path that efficiently moves between those two.
Yep. You work backwards from the end point that you want.
Yeah. But what we tend to do is we have these rules in place, and we would, as part of that pathway, and if those rules are broken, they become the important thing,
That's right.
as opposed to the desired outcome.
Yep, yep.
So in that case, the effort has going into removing a thing that doesn't hurt anyone but bad people.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And in doing so, you punish the person protecting themselves as opposed to punishing the person that's perpetrated wrong.
That's right.
Now, the idea of law is to have a functioning society.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what is the ultimate goal in that case is to stop the incentive of people breaking into places.
Yeah.
Okay? You don't want, it's my property, don't steal my property, don't invade my space.
Mm-hmm.
So that should supersede the method used by the person protecting his place.
Yeah.
But it doesn't, because the way our laws are written and the way that our laws are perceived by the general public. And I can give you at least an example of the way most people on the ground even think about these things. Let's say a horrific event happens. Let's just make a hypothetical thing. Guy mass murders children.
Yep.
Okay? I make a joke about it.
Yeah.
Who's the bad guy in their mind? The audience thinks I am an evil person.
An example of this literally happened this week, where David Crisafulli was being quizzed on something about to do with the crime numbers, and it wasn't a crime number, it was something else. It was some sort of event that we were holding, that maybe we had gotten the event from Victoria or something. I can't remember the exact specifics of it. But Crisafulli made this offhanded statement saying that, like, at least people aren't going to get stabbed on their way to this event, having a bit of a backhand at Victoria. And all these people went wild about it, saying how insensitive David Crisafulli is because of these stabbing victims in Victoria. And it's like, the point he was making was that he's trying to keep people safe, Victoria is not. But you're treating him like he's the bad guy because he made a joke about it.
You think the joke about stabbing is worse than the stabbing.
Yeah.
And that's what's crazy. And I don't know if that's been done to us over time. I'm not sure. Like, I'm not sure if I've read any sort of anecdotes, or, like, it feels like it's a new function. And it's powerful, right? Because you can easily derail a conversation. Like, we know about this out of all the gender debate stuff. That's someone that misgenders someone, that becomes the focus. You could be talking about a trans person doing a horrific thing. You want to talk about the horrific thing.
Yeah.
You say the wrong term. That's now the center point.
It's exactly like when you go to criticize what Israel's doing, and then they call you an anti-Semite. Like, it's just... Yeah. It is this... I don't know if it's Marxist, but it is a tactic used to shut down conversations.
Yeah.
It is designed so that... Because they don't want to solve the problems.
Yeah. I can't talk with a person who thinks that it's okay to joke about stabbing.
That's right.
Okay, but you won't talk to the person that's stabbed.
Yeah, and look, I will say it until I'm blue in the face. In regards to the trans issue, you will never ever convince me that transitioning children is a good idea, ever in a million years. Yeah. It's fucking barbaric. It should absolutely be... So this came up in Queensland this week because... so you know how we reported earlier in the year that the Queensland government came out and banned any new under 18s from getting puberty blockers or gender surgeries. So they banned it to then perform a review to then see what they're going to be doing moving forward. And the mother of this trans, like, I don't know, dude, girl, whatever, troubled young person, I'll say, has now gone and sued the government. Basically the argument is... they banned it after a meeting that only lasted 22 minutes, and they didn't have experts advising them. And they're trying to say that the government has done this ban without any sort of medical expertise. And it's like, hold on. Every other country around the world who's been doing this stuff for a lot longer than we have has already reversed it and banned it. That's why the Tavistock Clinic in the UK got shut down. And do you know why they got shut down, Alex? because they were transitioning kids with zero evidence that it was beneficial to the children and zero evidence that the mental health outcomes were any better for these children once they were transitioned. So in other words, there was actually no scientific basis upon which to do this in the first place, which is why they've all been shut down. So just looking at that,
that becomes the hook. The hook now is you didn't have
the science. You didn't have the science. And it's like, hold on. You fucking hypocrites. Because we didn't have the science to mandate the jab either. We did zero testing in Australia.
Yeah.
What we went on was the best available evidence from overseas, which is exactly what the Queensland government's doing now. But the same people who have a problem with the gender transitioning issue were quite happy to force vaccinate everyone as well.
So I guess the lesson out of this is, like, don't let people derail you on that. Hold them to account. Like, if someone tries to pull that shit on you, because it's like the other good one is throwing out whataboutism. Oh, you're just using whataboutism.
Yeah.
So, but whataboutism was also called comparison.
That's
right.
right.
Comparison is actually very, like, actually one of the tried and true ways.
I'm so glad you brought this up, and I don't want to derail you, but I'm so glad you brought this up because of the way that the culture has weaponized and changed words over time. And whataboutism is a perfect example, because comparison is the most accurate way to strength test an argument.
Yeah.
Right?
You use a similar thought pattern on a new subject, and you say how can we use this logic in this case, but we don't use the same logic in this case?
Yep.
Explain that.
So again, because that's too rational and too effective, we remove that tool from...
you change the term. Change the term from comparison to whataboutism. You call it a new thing, which is whataboutism.
Yep.
And then you just assume that you can't use whataboutism, and then you criticize the person for using whataboutism.
That's right. Exactly right. And again, then the audience watching goes, oh, that person, we used a whataboutism. They must be wrong. And another really good and insidious example of this is the term populism. You would have heard... oh, the populist candidate. Oh, populism. There's this populist uprising. Do you know what populism is? Democracy.
Yeah.
What is popular with the majority of the people?
Yeah.
That's democracy. But again, we've tweaked it to make it sound like it's this bad thing. Like, it is, it's so, you have to be so...
Yeah, I find it, in the political context, I find it so interesting. Oh, they're like, we're really scared of this populist movement. But you're scared of what the people want.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like,
Absolutely.
Is that not the most totalitarian thing you've ever heard in your life? It's like, we're scared of what the majority of people
want. And that's exactly what our government is saying. Like, Labor is concerned about the rise of populism. But what they really mean is they're concerned that enough people are disagreeing with what they are doing and that they may lose power.
Whilst we're bashing, I'm going to give Albo a little bit of the big ups about his deal with Trump. So I watched the whole... Did you watch the whole thing? Trump's meeting with Albo?
Oh, I watched the clips that were readily available. I didn't watch the whole thing.
The clips didn't say anything.
Yeah. It was just trying to rain shit on Kevin Rudd. Like, who cares?
Yeah. And to be honest, that interaction, Kevin Rudd actually handled himself pretty well. I would say. Like, the way that the clips showed it made him look like a fool.
Yep.
But Kevin sat back and he took it. And he's like, yeah, before I was a thing, I said bad things. Mm-hmm. And he goes, well, I don't like you. And he's like, well, I don't particularly like you. Mm-hmm. Like, it was... And then they moved on, and it was fine. Trump never came back to it. There was some times that Albo was super cucky, which I really was embarrassed.
It's embarrassing to watch, yeah.
Where the media just wouldn't shut up. And Albert was trying to explain something, and he kept trying to talk, but because he doesn't have a commanding... Like, Trump can tell people, shut up, or stop, and they just stop. But when Albo's like, well, like, there was a bit of that. But he did kind of make him laugh. He was... Oh, there was another real cucky thing I didn't like. They was talking about... a reporter asked if Trump would come to Australia. He goes, I've been to Australia before, it's a beautiful country. And he goes, oh, maybe we can organise a trip. And Albo goes, yeah, you should come over. And he goes, maybe you should come over for the America's Cup, President's Cup. Mm. And he goes, well, when is that? And Albo should have said, mate, talk to us. We'll figure it out. Like, he should have said it like that. But he said, well, you tell us and we'll make it so, Mr. President. Like, it was the most cucky thing. Now, at the same time, I know if I was dealing with Trump, you know that he likes to be pandered to, so pander. But you can pander and you can build that same connection without making yourself look like a bitch.
That's right, without looking like you're subservient. You can be charming, you can be funny, like he appreciates those things.
Mate, have your people talk to my people and we'll line it up.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, we'll make it fit with you, bro.
Yeah.
Like, that's better than, we'll do anything you want, Mr. President.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he did do a good deal. So that, I know some of the frustration from the rights in Australia are going to say that they didn't talk about any of the censorship stuff. Yeah, they didn't, and they really didn't. But I think they're really focused on this minerals deal. That is, you know, I've had some advice from someone that's actually invested into that side of things. I said it's a really, really good deal. So I trust him.
Did you see the part about the superannuation, though?
We have that here, don't we?
I'm not sure if I've sent that through.
I think we do.
The Matt Barry post.
Well, let's go to that now.
Yeah.
Let's go to that now. Here you go.
Oops. Yeah, so here you go. So from Matt Barry, we finally figured out... Oh, no, sorry, that's the wrong one. Sorry, there was a different one. Maybe I didn't send it through. Anyway, long story short...
do you want me to bring it up? This is the same thing, isn't it?
Did I actually send it through?
No, this is one I was referring to.
Yeah, no, I've sent the wrong thing. So, okay. But he had a post about it. Essentially, part of this deal is Australia has committed $1.4 trillion of our superannuation investments to be invested in American companies over the next 10 years.
Oh, that was Rennick, was it?
Oh, yeah, Rennick. Yeah, you might be able to find it on there.
Yeah.
So... And as part of the post, it was talking about how this will create jobs for Americans and blah, 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 blah. So I just need people to understand this is why we talk about superannuation being a scam. So, just think about this.
Here it is.
Okay, here we go. I'll read it out. Washington, October 20th. Australia's state pension fund will ramp up its investments in the United States to $1.4 trillion by 2035, according to a fact sheet released by the White House on Monday. In quotes, Australia's superannuation funds will increase investments in the United States to $1.44 trillion by 2035, an increase of almost $1 trillion from current levels. This unprecedented investment will create tens of thousands of new, high-paying jobs for Americans. And then Jared Rennick says this, and there you have it, folks. More confirmation that superannuation is just another globalist scheme to hand your hard-earned wages over to the globalist aristocrat elites. The only party that's doing anything about this rort is the People First Party. We will give workers the choice to keep all of their wages and force superannuation boards to hold board elections. I urge everyone who has had their money in an industry or retail fund to contact the fund and demand their hard-earning savings are kept in Australia. So here's the thing, guys. The people who are defending this online are like, well, the role of a superannuation fund is to get the largest returns for its members. Absolutely. It absolutely is. So if the American economy for some reason is absolutely tanked over the next 10 years, we've still committed to sending $1.44 trillion of your money to them. And also, why is this money not being used to fund Australian industry and actually drive growth in Australia?
The part that gets me the most, because this is the stark contrast between what Trump's doing in America and what Albo's doing in Australia.
Yep.
Trump is talking about jobs, productivity, doing shit, digging stuff out of the ground,
yep.
Not taxing tips so people are incentivized to work harder, unregulating crypto so we can be the number one in blockchain. And then here's Australia going, oh, the best deal that we can do is we'll just give you our money and you guys do what you guys do best over there. And then we'll, in quotes, profit from it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do, but you also can't touch it.
But yeah,
right?
so when do we profit? What, when you retire? This is what, again, it's... So I think Australia's, we've spoken about it before, but Australia's superannuation holdings somewhere around $4 trillion at the moment. So we're talking 35% of that. Actually, it's more than that. It's about 40% of that is going to be sent to the United States. Like, what are we doing? How are we going to build our own nation when the largest investment fund in the country, which is these superannuation funds, are sending all of your money overseas? Like, it just boggles my mind.
What project have you heard has cost $1 trillion here in Australia?
Well, nothing.
None.
No.
Zero. Never. So imagine what you could build, like, if you invested that money here. Imagine what you could do here. But it's not, and for me, it's not about the money first. You have to give, under our current framework, you got to give it to someone else because we don't have the ability to do it because we're too regulated.
It's the lack of vision to want to grow the country. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Like you said, we've just done this really, really important deal. Cool. It's the only industry we've got left. Exporting shit we dig out of the ground. That's it. It's just the same thing that we've been doing for the last 30 years, but we've just done another deal to sell some to the United States.
But it's almost worse because now we're mining, every man and woman's labour here in Australia to give to America.
Yeah. Because
in the form of the superannuation.
The minerals get sent over there, and then all the superannuation that you pay, almost half of that is going to be invested in the United States instead of in Australia.
While you're okay, this is tangential to this. I just had this discussion with someone this morning because we're coming into Movember.
Oh yeah.
And I don't like charity. Okay, everyone knows I don't like charity because there are some good charities out there, but most of the charities spend more on themselves than they do on the cause.
Charities shouldn't have CEOs earning hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Yeah. Now, in this discussion with this person who was quite receptive to it, he's like, oh, but aren't you putting basically what I was saying is, we should take a minute to have a look at all these pre-built constructs to decide whether they're actually good or not, as opposed to just thinking and assuming that they are.
Yeah.
Right? That weaponized empathy has made trillions of dollars for people.
Oh, yeah.
Okay? And he goes, well, isn't that like a really labour-intensive way to think about the world? And it wasn't until I actually had a couple of sips of coffee after that and went, oh, actually, I've got a rebuttal for that. I didn't have one at the time. And it was, how much, what do you usually give to a charity if it does come up? $20, $50?
Somewhere in there.
Okay. How long does it take you to research how much of that particular company's money goes to the cause?
Oh, way longer, because they hide most of it.
Well, no, I mean, not-for-profits registered here in Australia, they have to list it, okay? So it takes 5 minutes. So for 5 minutes, so let's say you have this opportunity to donate to this thing, you believe in the cause and you're a good person, you take 5 minutes to go and have a look where that money goes, or you just worked for 3 hours and gave it to a company to pay someone, right?
Good way
so there's the, and no one thinks of that equation like that, okay? But you're turning your effort into something tangible for someone else. So saying that this superannuation thing, you're turning 65 years of service, it's probably 40 years of work, you are turning into a donation for the betterment of the American working machine.
Yeah, absolutely.
How is that smart?
And so, my equation with things like charity is I go... So, let's say, Movember's all about, mental health and, suicide in men, essentially. Has the problem gotten better or worse? So if the problem's gotten worse, which I believe it has in recent years, well, you're not doing a good enough job, are you?
Okay, I've been thinking about this a lot because I'd had a coffee with someone and she wants to do the right thing. She wants to get into, and she wants to join these causes.
Yeah.
My challenge to her was this. I want you to actually do good.
Yeah.
Because trying to do good is the business model.
And can be harmful.
Yeah, and is more often detrimental to it.
So think about it this way. Like, well, let's go men killing themselves, male suicide, and trans children. Those two things look very similar to me in the way that they play out in society. Which is, the more you talk about both of them, the more you create them. Because you normalize it in society, and you make it look like everyone else is doing it. And as human beings who are social creatures, and we've covered on the show a million times before, the number one way to convince people to do something is to tell them that everyone else is doing it too.
Yeah.
So I would love to do an experiment where we go, okay, we've really been pushing suicide prevention and marketing it a lot for like the last 2 decades, at least that I can remember, at least 20 years. And the suicide rates, are you looking up suicide rates now? Is that what you're doing?
No,
Okay.
but I can.
But I think the
Oh, no, you can't. The suicide rate is not listed.
Oh, I think the ABS does have them, but they don't list
Yeah,
it.
5 years behind.
Yeah. But I believe they have actually increased over the last 20 years.
Yep.
So we've been talking about it heaps more, and then they've increased over the last 20 years. I would love to spend the next 20 years not talking about it. And not making it seem like every single day there's people killing themselves because life's so bad. Because if I was teetering on the borderline of depression, and then I was being told that every single day someone else was killing themselves because life's so bad, I'd probably more consider doing it. Whereas if I never heard about it, it's like... Do you remember we played on the show ages ago, there was that interview between the African guy, the older African man, and some other Africans, and they were talking about how like the infrastructure in that particular African nation didn't work anymore.
Yeah,
and it was
you
because...
mean all African nations?
Yeah, and it was
they don't have the term maintain.
That's right. They do not even have the concept of maintenance in their societal vernacular.
Yeah.
So they can't even think in terms of maintenance. Therefore, they don't maintain anything, and it crumbles over time, and then they want to blame the people who built it in the first place for it not working anymore. So we live in a society now where we constantly think in terms of mental illness because it's all we talk about.
Yeah.
We talk about depression. We talk about gender dysphoria. We talk about anxiety. Like all of these things. I tell you right now, if you had a new generation of kids coming through and they never heard those terms, the vast majority of them wouldn't even feel those feelings because they would never even think in those terms.
I've heard, playing devil's advocate, I've heard people say, yeah, but we know more now, so therefore we should bring light to it. But only if it's constructive.
Yeah, because
Like,
I don't believe that it is constructive. And again, I go back to the data. Is the problem getting better or worse?
Yeah.
It's like we talk about the skin cancer thing all the time, melanoma. We've been banging on slip, slop, slap for 40 years now. And melanoma rates continue to increase. Therefore, maybe the slip, slop, slap message isn't actually the right message. Maybe we're actually doing something wrong within that. Maybe we should be getting more vitamin D, so we've got a better immune system. Maybe it could be something to do with that. Maybe all those Cancer Council sunscreens that are full of carcinogens that keep getting pulled off the shelves, maybe it's got something to do with that. But this is the problem. We live in this society now where all we do is it's toxic empathy, just like you said before, because people are so scared about looking heartless that when it comes to every single one of these problems, that you identify a problem, they have proposed a solution, and when that solution doesn't work and the problem gets worse, they propose doing more of that solution that's already not working.
They feel good about doing it, which is selfish.
Yeah, that's
so
right.
So just
yeah.
because you... and that's what
good.
I said to this girl. I was like, I don't want you to feel like you're doing the right thing. I want you to do the right thing. And doing the right thing might feel bad.
Yep.
But if it's doing good, that is better.
I'll give you another example. We spoke about this on the show about a year ago. The Swiss government banned mammograms for women. Banned them. Gone. Why did they ban mammograms, Alex?
I don't know. I haven't heard this.
We talked about it on the show, but anyway, that's fine. They banned mammograms because when you put your titty in that little squeezer machine, they send radiation through your titty.
Yeah.
So they found that not only...
the boobs.
What was that, sorry?
It's like a jaffle maker for boobs.
Yeah, exactly. And what they were finding was two things. Number one, putting radiation through your tit flesh every year or two, or whatever the thing is not good because there is a cumulative damage effect that happens over time and can end up actually causing breast cancer. That's number one. And number two, they also realised that a lot of those scans are actually quite inaccurate. So women were getting double mastectomies who didn't actually need them.
Yeah.
But so again, this is one of those things that in Australia, we'll never ban the mammogram. We'll never ban it. Because our society says, no, breast cancer's a real problem. We wanna look like we're doing something about it. But the problem is, what we are doing, the Swiss government says is making the problem worse. So they made the decision to stop it. And it'll be really interesting to see over the next 20 years what happens with breast cancer rates in Switzerland.
Do you know that something similar to that, no one's been able to give me a good answer about this. But when we talk about childhood vaccines,
Yep.
one of the questions that just I can't get out of my mind is why are US kids subject to 77 jabs and Australian kids subject to 35 jabs? One of us must be doing it wrong.
Well, I think Australia, it's actually only 17 are the mandatory ones. So
Right.
Obviously, we're just rampant anti-vaxxers in Australia.
Yeah, but like...
We don't love our kids enough, Alex. We don't love our kids.
This is one of these other logical...
Alex, that's a whataboutism. That's a whataboutism. Like, what are you doing? You can't use that. It's a whataboutism.
But whenever you bring that up, so someone is staunch... So if you speak to, especially like mums, right? Mums are going to be like staunchly pro-protecting kids. Yeah, I agree. Okay. Then can you give me an answer about why us as a developed country versus America as a developed country, they do double what we do or triple what we do?
Mm-hmm.
One of us must be doing it wrong, right? So it's either we're over or we're under.
Well,
Which one is it?
There was an exchange in Senate estimates about this over the last week. Both Alex Antic and Malcolm Roberts asked the head of the TGA about... There was a new study that came out of the US showing that comparing vaccinated to unvaccinated kids, that vaccinated kids have a much higher prevalence of a range of different disorders later on in life. And whether or not the TGA was A, aware of the research, B, had looked into it, and C, had any concerns of their own. And the TGA had basically said, yes, they were aware of it, but again, they just immediately fall back into, but the science has settled on vaccines. And then... the follow-up question was...
But logically it can't be, given what I just presented.
Yeah, I know, but stop being logical and stop making whataboutisms, Alex. You're not allowed to do that in 2025.
Comparing
communist Australia. All you're allowed to do in Australia is escape, hide, and tell. That's it. But the follow-up question was, okay, out of the childhood vaccination schedule in Australia, how many of those have been tested in a double-blind, placebo-controlled trial where the non-vaccination arm was saline or some sort of inert placebo and not a pre-existing vaccination? And then the TGA guy just goes on this, like, 3 or 4 minute long filibuster about why it's unethical to do that because, and again, this is what I found so interesting, because Malcolm Roberts used the term gold standard, because during COVID, all the medical community, including the TGA, tried to tell us that the COVID vaccines passed through the gold standard of science, which is a double-blind placebo-controlled trial, therefore, take them.
Well, hold on, the gold standard is, hey, Pfizer, that's any good? Yeah? Yep.
Yeah.
Gold standard.
The gold standard is 96% of your funding at the TGA. That's the gold standard. Yeah. But anyway, so he used the term gold standard. And then, all of a sudden, the TGA head wanted to quibble over the use of the term gold standard because the gold standard changes based on context, according to the head of the TGA. And what he was saying was that, yes, when you're trying to approve new medicines, double-blind placebo-controlled trials are the gold standard. But when it comes to existing interventions that we have decades of quality safety data and blah-de-blah-de-blah-de-blah, that then becomes the gold standard. And I left a comment on Malcolm Roberts' post just saying, don't you find it funny that when the context that the TGA applies to each individual medical interventional circumstance always seems to lean in favour of the pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah.
Every single time.
Also the people that pay for all that shit to happen.
Yep.
Like the TGA to happen, to function.
Yep, and like, you want to talk about whataboutisms? Like, you and I, we lived through the early stages of the Me Too movement. Well, not even the early stages, the whole Me Too movement. We lived through that. We were told to believe all women. Like, do you remember that funny catchphrase? Believe all women. You got to believe all women. Believe all women, Alex. Believe all women. Except for the mothers who reported that their child was hitting every single milestone and developmental milestone in the development, and then literally 24, 48 hours after taking routine vaccinations, then immediately showed signs of autism. Don't believe those women, because in the context that the TGA applies to that conversation, that leans away from the pharmaceutical company. So don't believe those women, but believe all other women, Alex.
Let's move on to Keir Starmer.
Keir Starmer. So we have to pay attention to the UK, ladies and gentlemen, because there is a few extremely interesting things happening in the UK that are mirrors to, well, not even mirrors, sorry, it's a crystal ball into the future of our country. Because the UK is about 10 to 15 years ahead of us in a whole range of different social issues. Now, the obvious one that we talk about all the time is immigration. The UK government, that sounds like it's going to be really loud, so maybe just bring the volume down a little bit before you start it. But the UK government has been importing migrants at far too high a rate for the last 20 years. And this began under the Tories, which is their Conservative Party. They're the equivalent of our Liberal Party in Australia, and is now ramping up and continuing even more under the Labor Party, which again is the left-wing party similar to Labor in Australia. Now, the reason why we have to pay attention to the UK is because of a few things. Number one, they have the same immigration issues as we do, but theirs are way worse than ours, and they're already at the point, like, remember I've mentioned on the show recently about how the only way that political attitudes towards mass immigration are going to change is when the immigrants end up creating their own voting blocks and voting for themselves, and therefore challenging the power of these left-wing governments who imported them in the first place and thought they were going to get their votes forever. That's already happening in parts of the UK, like London, which is now Sadiq Khan is the mayor of London? Yep. So you're already seeing that play out over there. At the same time, though, Keir Starmer, as he is lovingly referred to, is trying to impose digital ID. Now, we're trying to impose digital ID at the moment too, but our digital ID we're imposing for your convenience, right? Just convenient. Whereas over in the UK, Keir Starmer has said that to fight mass immigration or illegal immigration, they're now making it, just like what we were saying before earlier in the show, about how all the law-abiding people have to suffer because of the people who are breaking the law, who are just going to continue to break the law anyway. Mm-hmm. So now he's made it mandatory that every UK worker will have to have a digital ID just to go to work. So I want you to play this clip of Keir Starmer talking to...
Brighton today, this is Barclays Bank, and I've been talking to customers about digital ID, and they're really enthusiastic. It'll have your basic information on it. For everything other than proving you've got a right to work, it won't be...
Just a quick note, okay. Have we got these two people in the same shot? Yeah, this is
probably not.
Yeah, look at the right.
And they're really enthusiastic.
Okay, yeah. Young boy sitting in a chair by himself, smiling, big smiles.
It'll have your basic information on it.
Over voice. Okay, so the voice is now over. A guy and an old lady, young boy sitting next to each other, nodding, smiling. Mm-hmm. Okay.
For everything other than,
like, what I'm trying to say is, are they being told, oh, like, if you sit here and get this, you're going to get free McDonald's. Everyone likes free McDonald's, right? They're like, yeah, we like free McDonald's.
Proving you've got a right to work.
So now they're showing him, the voice is the same because it's an over voice, right? Okay. But now
there's also
other people...
There's also a key point of what he's saying here that I want to...
It won't be mandatory. You don't have to have it, but you can have it. You can use it for anything that requires identification. And there are lots of things. If you want to rent, for example, if you want to apply for a mortgage, if you want to get your child into primary school, there's a catchment area, and you've got to show where you live, proving who you are, what your date of birth is, will just be able to be done with digital ID. They're really up for it, and I think once you understand just how much easier it'll make life, so many more people will be too. So I'm in Brighton today.
I just want you to go back to that part that you were analysing, and I want you to listen to the first part that he says about it.
It'll have your basic information on it. For everything other than proving you've got a right to work.
For everything other than proving you've got a right to work, it won't be mandatory. So he's like literally trying to say
that the elites don't have to do it because they don't work.
Yeah, well, there's that. But he's literally trying to say that don't worry about it. Like, it's not this big deal. Like, for everything else that you can, like, you won't have to use it. You just will need it to have the right to work in the UK. Which means, as Alex said, unless you are filthy rich, you need a digital ID. And how many times have we seen the same playbook? You start out with the one thing, and then you get compliance with that one thing, and then you roll it out and you make it mandatory for everything.
And let me also talk about some of the lived experience here. I have a digital ID because I'm a director of a company, right? So I have to have one.
Yep.
So that's how they forced me to do it.
Yep. I had to get one too for our self-managed super fund because same issue.
The very first time I used it, I had to raise a document that asked me to attach my digital identity, and after I did it, the very first thing it asked me was for me to type my name and address.
Why do you just tell me what your name is?
the one thing it's supposed to do, the one thing, and the easiest part of it, the only part that actually makes any sense, it doesn't do.
Yep.
Okay, the only thing. Now, the second lived experience is as being a car dealer, I have to go to Queensland Transport a lot. So I'm sitting there and I always listen into, what's happening around me. It's funny hearing like retail people going through, having to deal with government agencies. It's a nightmare, right? Because the rules are stupid. So New South Wales has had digital driver's licenses for years. And so this guy, he's just moved to Queensland. He wants to convert his license over. So he opens up his phone, turns it over, and the lady goes, yeah, we don't accept digital IDs from other states. Where's your physical one? He goes, well, I don't have it. Well, you need it. What do you mean?
Can you bring up the other Keir Starmer clip? Because this has a funny little anecdote in it as well.
This one?
Yeah.
There are some people who may completely flat out refuse to get a digital ID.
Yep.
Will those people be fined?
No, this is not something you have to carry or have to produce or anything like that, and there'll be no fining of people for not having it. It'll be something which simply makes life a lot easier.
The Prime Minister faced criticism for his digital ID policy, with some people accusing him of presiding over a nanny state. However, today, at an exclusive event, Keir Starmer clarified what the digital ID might actually mean.
Does he not know what to do with his
hands? I noticed that as well. Like, the way he walks is dysfunctional.
Unnerving. His hands, he's like part velociraptor.
Yeah, he's part Talladega Nights.
For the public.
For people who don't have a mobile phone, then this isn't mandatory. So you don't have to have it. It will make your life easier if you want it, but you don't have to have it. We're consulting on what other forms of ID would help them. Again, it won't be mandatory. You can still use your passport or your birth certificate or your 3 bank accounts if you want, however many times. You can choose to pay £85 to a company to prove that you are who you are every time you need to. Or you can take the easy route, which is get digital ID.
So hold on, so pause it. So I don't know if you guys understand that.
Hold on, everything else was a scam?
You're not going to get fined for not having it. It's not mandatory. But if you want to prove who you are, you can pay £85 to a company to prove your identity.
ID is the easy route. But if there's no fine against not having one, would you take it up?
But the fine is
you can't
your
work.
Entire year's wage every year.
Yeah, it's your earnings for life. It's the fine. But it's not mandatory. Just,
hey, I'll give you the tip. I'll take the £85 option, thank you very much.
Well, hey, where have you heard that before, guys? It's not mandatory. We didn't force it on anyone. You're just not allowed to work and provide for your family if you don't do it.
You had this lined up. What's this?
Oh, yeah, okay. So, all right, so this is also about digital ID in Australia. Now, they didn't talk about in those two clips, but the selling point for digital ID in the UK is that we've got all of these illegal migrants coming in who are working illegally, and if we make them, everyone who wants to work, get a digital ID, then that'll solve the problem. That's the marketing pitch. Even though he also just said that if you don't have a phone, it's not going to be mandatory. And I don't think a lot of these...
Hey, can I show me your digital ID? I don't have a phone.
Yeah.
I don't have a phone.
Yeah, well...
Or you have a phone. You prove it. Well, I can't prove it. I don't have it.
Yeah.
I don't have a phone.
So in other words, it's not going to actually solve the problem. Meanwhile, in Australia, here is some reporting on digital ID for rent applications.
The vast amounts of personal information to real estate agents, but that could soon be about to change. Federal politics reporter Amanda Kopp explains.
When people apply for a rental property, they need to provide their driver's license, passport, bank statement and utility bills, putting an alarming amount of personal information in the hands of real estate agents. Now the federal government is raising concerns about the risk.
I just want you guys to focus on the fact that they think that is an alarming amount of information to put in the hands of Australian-based real estate agents, and yet at the end of this year, the same government will expect you to send the same shit to overseas-based social media companies to access the internet.
Well, to be fair, real estate agents are Australian oligarchs.
Oh, sorry, that was a whataboutism. Carry on.
For data breaches and identity theft, and it's looking at possible alternatives, trialling using digital IDs instead, like government-issued My IDs.
Whatever we can do to minimise people sharing loads of personal data about themselves and then losing control.
That's all the data! That's all the data!
Yeah.
It's all the data! I don't get why people say this. All your data's there. That's all your data. I don't get it. This makes... Jason, this is driving me mad. Oh, give them less data. You're giving them more data.
You're giving them all the data. And all the data is stored in one giant honeypot for hackers. So while hackers might have to scour the internet to be able to find all of your info, they can just hack My ID and get all of it.
Whatever we can do to minimise people sharing loads of personal data about themselves and then losing control of that, I think is a good thing.
Rather than giving agents personal documents over and over again, renters could soon be able to confirm their identities with a simple click using verified online tools. Currently, rental applications are highly regulated and differ from state to state. But these trials aim to simplify things and reduce excessive data sharing.
How convenient.
Trials will begin next year.
Amanda, thank you.
Alex, sign me up, man, because that just sounds so, convenient and just so... It makes me feel so safe.
Here's a test. Here's the test. This is the test I'll be doing in the rental market 2026. Yeah, I'll connect my digital ID. If you ask me my fucking name, I'll go ballistic.
Yeah.
I'll go fucking mad.
Yeah.
If you make me fill out a form, this is the, I shared...
the forms won't disappear. All the old forms will stay, and you'll have to do this on top.
It's making me angry. We need to end this. I'm getting fucking...
Well, again, just before we wrap up, I just need to make the point. Guys, this is the early stages of the COVID vaccine rollout. Just like I keep saying it. They will start with soft pressure. Get the digital ID because it'll be safer and more convenient. It's safe and effective, Alex. Digital ID is safe and effective at securing your personal data. And look how convenient it'll make your rental application. That's stage 1. Stage 2 is going to be what Keir Starmer is doing. Get digital ID or we won't allow you to work and provide for your family. And I can tell you right now, and to the members of the UK who might be watching this, stage 2 is not where this ends. There is always a stage 3 and a stage 4, and it's force. And
you shared the carbon consumption.
Oh, yeah. Just this weird coincidence, I'm sure it's completely unrelated, that there's banks in the UK that are now literally giving you statements on the carbon footprint of the items that you purchase. But I'm sure it's completely unrelated to your digital ID, so you should feel completely safe to log your digital ID with your financial institution so that your carbon footprint can be logged against your digital ID and sent to the government.
What could possibly go wrong?
And on that note, don't forget, guys, in the morning, it's all good to escape, hide, and tell. And we'll see y'all next week.
I'll never remember that. I'll block it out from my whole life.
Do something about it. See you guys.